Have you ever felt as though your mind is a leaf caught in a gale? You start your day with the best intentions, a list of goals, a fresh cup of coffee, and a sense of purpose. But the moment you face a task that is tedious, demanding, or silent, something shifts. Your hand reaches for your phone with a mind of its own. Your focus shatters into 1,000 digital fragments. You feel an almost physical itch to escape the present moment, a restless energy that makes sitting still feel like a form of torture. Why has the simple act of staying, of remaining present with a difficult task, become the greatest challenge of our century? We are currently living through a quiet crisis of the will. We have become mood junkies, slaves to the chemical spike of dopamine. Our modern world is an architectural masterpiece of instant gratification, from the infinite scroll of social media to the lightning-fast delivery of products and food. We have eliminated the gap between desire and fulfillment. But in eliminating that gap, we have inadvertently atrophied the very muscle that makes us human, the ability to endure. We have been sold a lie that work should always be inspiring or passionate. We wait for the lightning bolt of motivation to strike before we begin. But motivation is a fair weather friend. It is a neurological luxury that evaporates the moment the air gets cold or the task gets boring. When we rely on motivation, we remain fragile. We become fair weather workers, capable of greatness only when the internal conditions are perfect. For thousands of years, our ancestors lived by a different clock, the chronos of the seasons and the soil. They didn't have the luxury of waiting to feel inspired. The field had to be ploughed, the wood had to be split, and the harvest had to be gathered regardless of how they felt. They possessed a secret we have largely forgotten, the ancestral field practice. This wasn't just physical labor, it was a psychological framework that allowed the mind to find a deep, rhythmic peace within the difficulty itself. Imagine waking up and looking at your most daunting project, not with dread, but with a calm, steady resolve. Imagine your mind becoming as stable as an oak tree, unswayed by the winds of boredom or frustration. Imagine finishing your day not drained by the mental load, but nourished by the honest effort you put in. In this exploration, we are going to deconstruct this ancestral wisdom into a blueprint for modern endurance, teaching your brain how to work when the heart is tired. To understand the ancestral field practice, we must first look at the philosophy of the furrow. Imagine an old-world farmer standing at the edge of a 10-acre field with a hand plow and an ox. If that farmer stood there and looked at the vast expanse of unplowed earth all at once, the sheer weight of the task would be paralyzing. Despair would set in before the first step was taken. The farmer's secret was the furrow. They did not look at the 10 acres. They looked at the 6 inches of soil directly in front of the blade. They focused on the single line currently being cut. This is what we call vertical presence. In our modern lives, we suffer from outcome obsession. We are constantly living in the future. We are writing the first page of a book while worrying about the reviews it hasn't received yet. We are studying for a degree while stressing about a job market 4 years away. This creates a massive psychological gap. The now feels like a boring, painful obstacle standing in the way of the then, more, because our brains are wired to seek reward, and the reward is so far away. The brain interprets the current task as a threat to our happiness. This is where procrastination is born. The ancestral field practice teaches us to decouple our actions from our emotions. In rural traditions across the globe, from the Sisu of the Finnish highlands to the Arbit-Sethos of the Germanic plains, there is an understanding that I am and I feel are not the same thing. When you decouple action from emotion, you accept a profound truth. You do not need to feel like doing something in order to do it. Modern psychology calls this emotional regulation, but the ancients called it character. To endure, You must learn to treat your feelings like the weather. If it is raining, the farmer still works. If it is hot, the farmer still works. The work is the constant. The emotion is the variable. Once you stop negotiating with your feelings, the difficulty of a task loses its power over you. The itch to check your phone is just a passing cloud. You don't have to follow it into the storm. Our ancestors didn't have gyms, meditation apps, or mindfulness coaches because their entire existence was a physical meditation. We often think of ancestral life as a period of brutal, mindless toil, but this is a modern misunderstanding. The repetitive nature of rural tasks, kneading bread, scything grass, walking behind a plough or weaving wool, induced a specific state of consciousness. Modern science calls this flow, but the ancients simply called it the rhythm. The modern mind is jagged. It is a series of sharp edges, jumping from a notification to a thought, from a worry to a video. We have lost our internal rhythm because we have outsourced all our repetitive tasks to machines. We no longer walk, we drive. We no longer chop, we buy. While this has made life easier, it has made the mind weaker. We have lost the ability to enter the long now. To teach your mind to endure, you must stop fighting the boredom and start entering it. Boredom is not the enemy. It is the doorway to the deep self. When you embrace the repetition of a difficult task, the task stops being an obstacle. It becomes a pulse. Consider the Zen Buddhist proverb, Nichi Nichi, Kore Kojitsu. Every day is a good day. This doesn't mean every day is filled with pleasure. It means that every day provides the opportunity to be present within the work. To a farmer, a rainy day was not bad. It was simply a day for indoor repairs, for sharpening tools by the fire. The ancestral field practice involves aligning your tasks with your internal weather. No. If your mind is cloudy or heavy, that is not a sign to quit. It is the perfect time for the heavy, mechanical tasks that require less creativity but more endurance. By syncing your effort with your internal state rather than fighting it, you reduce the friction of the day. You learn to move through difficulty with the steady, unstoppable pace of an ox, rather than the frantic, unsustainable energy of a hummingbird. In the old rural communities, labor was rarely seen merely as a way to get things. It was a way to be someone. There was a sacredness to the craft. Whether it was the way a stone wall was stacked in New England, or the way a terrace was carved in the Andes, the work was a reflection of the soul. We have transitioned into a consumer culture, and this has poisoned our ability to endure. Consumers want the result without the process. They want the hacks, the shortcuts, and the optimized version of life. But endurance cannot be hacked. When you shift your mindset from a consumer to a creator, the difficulty of a task changes. You stop asking, when will this be over? And start asking, how well can this be done? This is the maker's mindset. It transforms a mundane report into a piece of architecture. It transforms a difficult study session into the forging of a blade. The ancients knew that the quality of the work determined the quality of the man. If you scamped your work on the fences, the wolves would get the sheep. There was a direct, visceral connection between effort and survival. In the modern world, that connection is muffled by layers of bureaucracy and digital abstraction, but the psychological need for honest labor remains. To endure a difficult task, you must find the hidden excellence within it. Even in a task no one will see, you must perform it as if the gods were watching. This isn't about perfectionism, it is about dignity. When you bring dignity to a difficult task, the need for motivation vanishes, replaced by a sense of duty and craft. In the middle of any long, difficult task, there is a moment the runners call the wall. It is that point where the initial excitement has worn off. The end is not yet in sight, and every fiber of your being is screaming for you to stop. In the ancestral field practice, this was the noonday demon. Our ancestors had many names for the psychological strength required to push through this wall. The Finnish call it sisu. It is a word that describes a reserve of energy that only becomes available once you have exhausted your normal strength. It is a second wind of the soul. Modern neuroscience explains this through the lens of noradrenaline. Betsum. When we face a challenge, our brain releases chemicals that make us feel agitated and stressed. Most people interpret this agitation as a signal to quit. They think, I'm stressed, so I should stop. But the Sisu mindset interprets this agitation as a signal that the second wind is coming. If you can stay in the friction for just 10 minutes longer, your brain undergoes a neurochemical shift. The agitation subsides, and you enter a state of calm, determined persistence. The problem with the modern mind is that we never stay in the friction long enough to reach the second wind. We quit at the first sign of the noonday demon. To retrain your mind, you must practice staying in the discomfort. You must treat the urge to quit not as a command, but as an interesting biological phenomenon. Ah, there is the wall. Now, the real work begins. One of the greatest mistakes we make in the modern era is the belief that endurance means working all the time. We see hustle culture and think that to be strong we must be on 24/7. But our ancestors would have seen this as madness. A farmer who works his ox until it drops has no way to plough the field tomorrow. In the ancestral world, there was a sacred, unbreakable boundary between the field and the hearth. The field was the place of labor, of sun, of sweat, and of sisu. But the hearth was the place of the fire, the family, the story, and the deep, restorative silence. When the sun went down, the work was over. There were no candles lit to do overtime on the ploughing. This hard boundary allowed for a total nervous system reset. The modern mind never leaves the field. We carry our work in our pockets. We check our emails in bed. We rest by consuming high-arousal digital content that keeps our brains in a state of low-level fight or flight. Because we never truly rest, we never truly have the will to endure. Our wells are dry. To master the ancestral field practice, you must protect your hearth. You must have a sunset protocol, a ritual that signals to your lizard brain that the hunt is over and the camp is safe. This might mean putting your phone in a drawer at 7 p.m, taking a warm bath, or sitting in silence for 10 minutes. Without the hearth, the field will eventually break you. Endurance is built in the moments when you are not working. In the rural past, you rarely worked alone. Even if you were physically alone in a field, you were working for the survival of your children, the health of your village, and the legacy of your ancestors. Your endurance was a gift to others. One of the reasons we find it so hard to focus today is that our work feels profoundly selfish. We are working for my career, my bank account, my ego. When the work is only for ourselves, it is very easy to negotiate with ourselves. I'll just do it tomorrow, we say. I deserve a break. But when you frame your difficult task as an act of service, your endurance increases exponentially. This is the ancestral responsibility. Whether you are writing code, cleaning your house, or studying biology, you are doing it to become a more capable version of yourself so that you can better serve the world. When you feel like quitting, think of those who depend on you. Think of the version of you 10 years from now who will either benefit from your discipline or suffer from your sloth. Connect your small, boring task to the grander narrative of your life and your community. The field is not just yours, it is a legacy. We have journeyed together through the furrows of the mind, from the frozen forests of Finland to the quiet tea houses of Japan. We have seen that endurance is not a magical gift bestowed upon a few disciplined individuals. It is a practice. It is a rhythm. It is a way of standing in the world, The Ancestral Field Practice is about returning to the basics of our humanity. It is about realizing that your mind is not a machine to be optimized, but a garden to be tended. It is about accepting that difficulty is the very soil in which meaning grows. If you take only one thing from our time together today, let it be this: you are the master of your furrow. You do not need to feel like a hero to act like one. You do not need the fire of motivation to keep your hands moving. You only need the rhythm. I want you to choose one task tomorrow, something you have been procrastinating on because it feels too hard, too boring, or too much. Approach it with the Ancestral Field Practice. Decouple. Ignore your feelings, just move your hands. Narrow. Focus only on the furrow. The next 15 minutes. Dignify. Do the task with the care of a master craftsman. Close. When the time is up, leave the field and return to your hearth without guilt. Engage with the circle. I want to hear from you. Which field in your life has been left unplowed because you were waiting for motivation? Comment below with the task you are going to tackle using this practice. Let's hold each other accountable to the steady rhythm of honest work. If this journey brought you a sense of calm and clarity, please give this video a like and share it with someone who is struggling to find their focus. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell to join our community of modern ancestors as we continue to reclaim the wisdom of the past to build a more resilient future. Remember, the harvest doesn't come to those who wait for the sun, but to those who plant even when the sky is grey. Until next time, keep your blade in the soil and your heart in the hearth.